multiple all-inclusive offers in downtown Las Vegas, multiple all-inclusive offers on the Strip. Why the sudden shift, and are any of them worth it? Well, in today's video, I'm going to dissect all 5 of the offers and let you know which ones are worth your money and which ones you should skip altogether. All right, let's start with the one that's getting the most buzz right now, and that's the all-inclusive package from MGM Resorts. On paper, this one looks pretty good. So here's how it works. You're booking a 2-night stay for 2 people at either Luxor or Excalibur. Now, these are the lowest end hotels of the MGM Resorts, but instead of paying for everything separately, it's all bundled into one upfront price. So we're talking about your hotel room, your resort fees, parking, breakfast, lunch, and dinner every day for 2 people. Your drinks are included, but only beer and wine, and only 1 per meal per person. 2 show tickets, and a ride on the Big Apple coaster at New York, New York. The prices start at $330. Now that's all in for the 2 nights, but the rates can vary. So the $330 is for Excalibur in their cheapest room, and that's also during the weekday, so Sunday through Thursday. And not every weekday is going to qualify for that. It just depends on what's going on during that week in Las Vegas. If it's a busier time, you're going to pay a little bit more. Also, the weekends are going to be more expensive, although looking ahead in the calendar, it's really not too bad for weekend rates. It's important to note that when you're looking at the calendar, it's going to show you the nightly rate. So you have to add the 2 nights together to get the total. If you do decide to stay at Luxor over Excalibur, it will be a little bit more money, but maybe only about $10 more per night. And in either case, it's going to start you at the lowest level room possible. So that's where you're going to get that $330. But you do have the option to upgrade the room. And that could be really important over at Luxor because the pyramid rooms and the tower rooms are drastically different. And when I was playing around with the booking, I saw some nights the tower rooms were only $4 more per night over the pyramid. I'd 100% jump on that extra $4. It's worth it. The rooms are much nicer. As I was going through the booking process, I was really curious as to how they were going to calculate the room tax. So Las Vegas has a room tax that's almost 13.4%. But I thought to myself, well, how are they going to tax me a room tax on food and beverage? Because essentially they're bundling it all together. Well, I am happy to report that as I went through the booking and I did the calculation on the tax versus the room rate, it was only 4%. So that tells me that they took out the food portion of the room rate and only charge you tax on the room rate. So basically on that $340, you're going to pay about $14.50 in room tax. But be sure to stay tuned because this wasn't the case with all of the properties that we're looking at today. So let's talk about where you can get food because not every restaurant is available for you to use this all-inclusive package. So at Excalibur, you can go to the buffet or the Tap Sports Bar. At Luxor, you can go to the Pyramid Cafe, the Backstage Deli, Public House, and Diablo's Cantina. At New York, New York, Tom's Watch Bar is available. At Mandalay Bay, the Noodle Shop. And at MGM Grand, it's the MGM Grand Buffet and Tap Sports Bar. Now, one thing to note is that they have a limited menu. However, going through the various menus, which by the way are available on the website, you can see that they have a lot of different options available to you. It's not like they have limited to just a couple of menu items. They have a pretty nice offering. And if you are going to bring your kids, they're not part of the all-inclusive package. However, kids tend and under eat free at both of the buffets and at the Tap Sports Bar. And then they have some $10 kids menus available at other restaurants throughout Luxor and Excalibur. So you can kind of bring your kids for free in some respects. You may just have to pay a little bit for some of their food. And for your free show, you get 2 tickets and you can see the Australian Bee Gees, the Matt King Comedy Show, Thunder from Down Under, the Blue Man Group, Carrot Top, or Fantasy. One thing that is unique to this particular offer is that it does not seem to be temporary. So all of the other 4 offers I will be showing you are all just summertime offers. This one at MGM, I was on their website trying to do a booking. I could go all the way into March of next year. That's the latest that you can book any room at Luxor Excalibur, and those all-inclusive offers are still available at that time. So this seems to be like an ongoing thing, and we'll see how long that lasts. Caesars has rolled out their all-inclusive plan for the summer. So it's running now until the end of August, and this is good for the Flamingo, the Link, and for Harrah's. And so starting at just $200 a night, here's what you get. You get your hotel room, including your resort fees and taxes that is included in there, bottomless drinks at select venues, 2 meals a day at certain restaurants, 2 high roller tickets, and 20% off of the cabanas at the Link. So here's what I do like about this package. There are several restaurants at these hotels that are participating, and it's not like you have a limited menu here. So essentially you can go to Harrah's and you can visit Bobby's Burgers, Chicken Guy, Fulton Cafe, Fulton Street Noodle Bar, Pinup Pizza. At the Link, you have Gordon Ramsay Fish and Chips, Guy Fieri's Vegas Kitchen, and Nook Express. And at Flamingo, you have Gordon Ramsay Burger and Nook Express. But the cool thing is you're not limited. It's not like you have a set prefix menu that you have to choose from. This is the full menu options, and essentially you get an appetizer, an entree, a dessert, and a non-alcoholic beverage. So the free alcohol that we talked about is limited to a few different bars. So at Harrah's, you can go to the Signature Bar. At the Link, it's the 3535 Bar and the Catalyst Bar. And at Flamingo, it's at Bugsy's Bar and the Social Bar. So looking at it up front, it looks like a pretty decent deal. But as you dig in a little bit further, you're going to find that there are definitely some flaws with this. First of all, if you would go and do the booking for 2 nights and you plug in 2 people, I would expect to pay $400 because it's $200 a night. But that $200 a night is actually only for one person. You have to add an additional $100 per night for each additional person. I really think they should have priced this out and advertised it for 2 people because most people coming to Vegas are not coming solo. Now, another thing that you will notice as you're going through the booking is that a lot of dates are already sold out and there are absolutely no weekends available. So if you are flexible with your days, you might be able to pick this up on a weekday, but the weekends are completely gone. Another thing to consider is that the bottomless drinks only accounts for well drinks, beer, house wine, and non-alcoholic beverages. I really don't know if this offer is even worth it at all. So when I went over to the Caesars website and I just tried to book a room at the Flamingo for 2 dates that were part of the package, but I just booked the room by itself. The room itself was only $17 for the 2 nights, and when you add in the resort fees and taxes, it came to $132.54. So that's for 2 people. If I were to do the all-inclusive package, I'm paying $600 for 2 people. So that's a difference of $470. So considering that a lot of the restaurant options are kind of like quick bites, you do have some decent restaurants in there. I feel like I'd be working really hard to get my money's worth. I'd have to drink a lot of those well drinks to make sure that I got my money's worth on it. I just personally don't think it's worth it, but let me know your thoughts. Maybe I'm wrong. Resorts rolled throughout their all-inclusive package called the Conrad Complete. Now, this isn't intended to be like a true cheap budget all-inclusive type of experience. This is supposed to be a little bit more elevated, adding some luxury to your stay just at one packaged price. This package includes private access to Club 66 VIP Lounge, where you'll have your breakfast. It's just a daily continental breakfast. And in the evening, they'll have a social hour where you have complimentary spirits, beer, and wine. You have a multi-course lunch at several restaurants and a multi-course dinner at a few restaurants. You also have a reserved pool area with included domestic beer and sodas, and you get into the pool area 30 minutes earlier than everybody else. You also get complimentary entry to Zouk nightclub and complimentary valet service. When I first looked at this offer, it looked like it was $150 per guest per night. So that would make it $300 a night for 2 people. But when I went to do a booking, I was expecting to see $600 for 2 nights, and it was actually closer to $1,200. So going back and looking, I saw that it's actually $150 per guest per night in addition to the room rate, resort fees, taxes, and all of that. So this is in addition to, and that just gives you access to all of that all-inclusive component. So looking at your food options, obviously for breakfast, that is included in the VIP Lounge Club 66. Your lunch is included at either Viva, Agave Bar and Grill, or Wally's. And your dinner is served at either Kusanori, Fuhu, or Wally's. So Resorts World posted the menus for their lunch and dinner options for this all-inclusive package. And let me just say, the menu selection is sad. It's very limited. I'm talking about you can choose one of 2 different entrees or one of 2 different appetizers. Now, not all the menus were that way, but a lot of them were, and I just don't know how I feel about that. The one thing that really upset me about this whole offer is when I went to go check out using the all-inclusive package and I saw the room tax. I looked at it and it looked pretty high. So I did the calculation and they charged the entire 13.38% room tax on the entirety of the package. So that means I'm paying tax on prepaid food and beverage. It just does not seem right to me. So now we are headed to downtown Las Vegas, and we're going to take a look at the Circa All-In Summer Hotel Package. So this is going to run May 19th through September 10th. Now this is valid Sunday through Thursday only. And what you get is for $400 all in, one price, no resort fees, no taxes, everything's all bundled in together. You're going to get a 2-night stay at Circa, a $100 dining credit, a $100 beverage credit, and a complimentary daybed at Stadium Swim with no food and beverage minimum. So this is a lot less like an all-inclusive and more like a credit-based bundle. But I think a lot of people might actually just prefer this because instead of having to go to specific restaurants and order from fixed menus, you essentially have this dining credit and you can go to any restaurant at Circa and use it. But if you choose to go to Barry's Downtown Prime and order a fancy steak, you're going to wipe out that $100 quickly. But if you prefer to save that budget and maybe go to Victory Burger and save some of that to get coffee the next morning, well, then you can stretch that budget a little bit further. And the same goes with the beverage credit as well. The daybed is actually a really nice perk. So if you were to go and rent a daybed during this time frame, you're looking to spend about $200 to $300 on food and beverage. So essentially you do get the food and beverage out of it, but you have a minimum spend. So if you weren't looking to go and get a whole bunch of food and drinks at the pool, but you want to have that nice daybed experience, this is a great way to do that. The only real negative for me on this offer is the fact that it is not available on the weekends at all, not even at a higher rate. So this is strictly Sunday through Thursday, and they make it very clear on the website. It's not like it's sold out or anything. This is intended to be weekdays only. But if you were already planning to come during the week and you were thinking about staying at Circa, this might be a great option because when I was looking at just the regular rates, you're essentially paying almost the same price and some nights even more than you would for this package. And there are no blackout dates. So every weekday is going to be eligible for this offer. So it's really great to get that food, beverage, and daybed credit if you're going to be out here anyway. And continuing downtown, the Plaza is bringing back their all-inclusive package. That's right, bringing it back. This is the 3rd year, so they were the first to do it in Las Vegas, kind of the OGs, if you will. So for as low as $104 per person, you can get an all-inclusive room package. So this doesn't start until June 1st and it runs through August 31st. And essentially what you get with your package, you get breakfast and dinner, bottomless drinks, waived resort fees, discounted appetizers, and drinks. So while Plaza has announced this all-inclusive deal is coming, I don't think that they've ironed out all of the details here. So they do list where your bar drinks are going to come from. So if you want to take advantage of the bottomless drinks, you can go to the Omaha bar and the sports book, both on the casino floor, and that'll get you unlimited well drinks, your non-alcoholic beverages, and select wine and select beers. But they haven't listed where your breakfast and dinner are going to come from. So essentially you get 2 meals a day on this offer, and it doesn't show you where those meals are going to be offered just yet. But we are still a little early in the game, so hopefully in the next couple of weeks that will be available on their website. They are going to offer you free early check-in, so if you do arrive before 3 p.m., they're going to try to get you into your room. You will have discounts at Oscar Steakhouse during their happy hour, and if you're going to hang out by the pool, you'll get 25% off drinks by the pool. I did mention that the rates include your resort fees, but if you're asking about parking, well, guests at the Plaza already get free parking, so they didn't have to include it in their offer. You just get it automatically. So this offer is good every day of the week, so that does include weekends. However, the prices will fluctuate more on the weekends. I did do some pricing for weekdays and weekends, and what I found was that a lot of weekends do end up being $100 per person per night. So plugging in 2 people for 2 nights, I got roughly a $400 charge. And if I went on the weekends, they were running about $500 to $600 for the 2 nights for 2 people. So you will expect to pay more on the weekends. It just fluctuates depending on demand. Remember in the Conrad Complete, I was complaining because they were charging the room tax basically for my food and beverage. Well, they're kind of doing it here as well. However, if I click into the details, then it breaks down the occupancy tax and it's a much lower rate. And I'm not sure if this is just like a glitch in the system, but I'd say if you're going to book this, you may just want to call and verify, because I think it should be at that lower rate and it could just be glitching out. And just when you thought that we covered all the all-inclusive deals, Sahara went and dropped a special. So they have their new all-in stay. So what this is, it's $89 per night. The resort fees are waived. You get a free daily breakfast at Zephyr's Cafe. So this is a limited menu. I cannot see what that menu looks like. They're not displaying it here. But Zephyr's has a really good breakfast, so I imagine whatever they have on there is going to be delicious. You get free late checkout until noon. It's a $25 value. And then you get discounts like on tickets to Magic Mike Live, to the spa, and you get BOGO drinks at Casbar Lounge. Also, Sahara already has free parking, so you get free valet or self-parking included, and that's not necessarily part of this discount. It is just what they offer all the time. The lowest rate of $89 a night is only available Sunday through Thursday, and not all of those dates are even $89. Some nights will be more expensive. And on the weekends, you're going to expect to pay $149 to $199. Now, the interesting thing, though, is if you go to just book a room without this deal, there are a lot of nights that are way more expensive than this. So I feel like you might as well just book this offer and get the included breakfast with it. Now, that $89 rate is going to get you a room that will be assigned at check-in, so you don't know what kind of room you're going to get. But for just $10 more, I saw the Mara room available, and the Mara room was recently remodeled. We stayed there recently and thought it was absolutely gorgeous. So it might be worth your while just to pay that extra $10. I really don't think that this is really an all-inclusive deal. Sure, you get your resort fees waived and you do get a free breakfast that's included nightly, but other than that, it just doesn't feel very much like an all-inclusive. But despite that, this is a really good deal. Even when you compare it against the normal rates at Sahara, this is a great deal. And Sahara is known for being pretty inexpensive. Now, it is at the north end of the strip, which is probably why it's so inexpensive. It is far from all the hotels, but it is attached to the monorail, so it makes it pretty easy to get further south on the strip. And honestly, the hotel itself was pretty impressive. When we stayed there last time, which was not too long ago, we were actually really impressed with the hotel. So we ended up covering 6 offers in total, and now I'm going to tell you which ones are worth trying out and which ones you should just skip altogether. So first, I think the MGM offer is probably the best one out there for somebody who's looking to save money and just really have as much as possible included into your package. So I do like that you get the free meals, you have several options to choose from, the rates are very reasonable, and you get some entertainment with the show tickets and with the roller coaster. The next offer that I think is worth your while is going to be Circa. Now, Circa is not a bargain kind of deal. This isn't for you to go and save a whole bunch of money, but it is a way for you to try out Circa, which is a lovely hotel, and get some added benefits out of it. And you will save a little bit money over their regular rates in a lot of cases. The third offer I really like is Sahara. While it's not all inclusive in the traditional sense, you are going to save money, you're not going to pay the resort fees, and you're going to get free breakfast at a really great restaurant. And finally, the other offer that I do like is the Plaza. Now, they're still ironing it all out, so I don't know where you're going to eat, but it has been proven to be a good deal in the past, and I'm sure that once it's ready to be fully rolled out, it will still be a good offer. So the first offer that I would avoid is the Caesars offer. I just don't feel like I'm getting a lot of value out of this. I can book a regular room a lot cheaper, and even with the resort fees, I'm still saving a lot of money over this all-inclusive deal. I feel like I would really have to work hard to make sure that I got my full money's worth. And finally, the worst offer of all, at least in my opinion, is the Conrad Complete. So I don't know what they were thinking by trying to package some sort of luxury deal, and then you send me to a restaurant where I can choose one of 2 entrees. To me, that does not feel luxurious at all. I think it would have been better if they would have just given like a food and beverage credit, sort of like Circa did, so that way I can go and choose where and what I want to eat. And I just don't think that the lounge access, the pool perks, or the Zouk nightclub tickets make up the difference for what's lacking in the food. I'd rather take that extra $300 a night that I would spend here and maybe go have some nice meals. And then also I'm not limited to the restaurants that are included here.